Good evening, friends. Shri Gopalakrishnan sir joining us online. Sir, we can see, all of us can see you. And Mr. Shailesh Thaker, our trainer who is here physically. So very important event today, and certainly the title leadership of Sir RATAN TATA. RATAN TATA sir is probably everybody, and I have some few anecdotes that I'm right now thinking from my home also. Firstly, of course, thank you for coming, and to the Secretariat for organizing this important tribute program for late Sri RATAN TATA so sooner. Thanks to Gopalakrishnan sir for joining us. I'll introduce him. Of course, all of us know he has been here. We have launched his book, and that's certainly everybody is looking forward. Sir Gopalakrishnan sir, a lot of people are looking forward to your next book also. So we will do the launch. I understand you would be writing one more book after so many of them. And
I've already written the Jamshedji Tata book.
Yes, so we will be very happy to have that launch also happening in Ahmedabad at AMA. So of course the one that I was saying, and Tata as the brand that every single person knows, and that the event that happens as a very short event at my place is there was something, I'm not sure what was the product, but some product was being evaluated. And then my wife speaks up that this is a Tata product, why are we even evaluating it? So that's how this Tata brand has been, that at every smallest of the house would know, and they would not know that product as the product, they will know the product from the place that it is coming from, the source of the product, and the philosophy and the culture of where the Tata Group has brought the things to life and to every household that and every person in so many. Of course, we are also going to be having one program purely on Tata Group's brands, and that's going to be done by our quiz master, very senior man, Sanjay Chakravarti, and that's happening, I think, so next week or so. Without much ado, of course, we have the senior gentleman joining us. I will introduce the two gentlemen, and then I will hand over to Gopalakrishnan sir first, and then Shailesh Thaker sir is here. So to introduce Gopalakrishnan sir, he of course has been with Tata's 19 years. And thank you sir for a short notice to join us. Who better than you who can give us the context of the Tata, when you've been so close to the Tata as a group as well as an executive. He was an executive director of Tata Sons, right now a non-executive chairman at Castrol, independent director at Press Trust of India, corporate leader for decades, 31 years in Unilever, 19 in Tata, and served as in Jeddah as chairman of Unilever Arabia. He is managing director of Brook Bond, vice chairman of Hindustan Unilever. Apart from Tata parent Tata Sons, and he also served several group companies of the Tata Group, and thus we are very keen to know or have the insights on late Sri RATAN TATA from Gopalakrishnan, who would have worked so closely on several occasions. He serves as independent director of Castrol India and Hemas Holdings, Sri Lanka. He is a past president of All India Management Association, serves as executive in residence of SP Jain Institute of Management and Research, Mumbai. He is a distinguished professor of IIT Kharagpur. He is actively engaged in both instructional and inspirational speaking. He has also authored 8 books, 51 years of management experience, 31 years board experience, over 100 keynote addresses in India and abroad. And he's an author. We just discussed, he has authored books, contributed in newspaper articles, management, and so on, and many more things. And thank you so much, Gopalakrishnan sir, for joining us today. Dr. Shailesh Thaker, he a world-renowned management thinker and a training powerhouse, a very important and invaluable asset to Ahmedabad Management Association. Global sir, in Ahmedabad Management Association must be your association at least 25 years or more, 30 years? More than 30 years that he has been training so many, and globally recognized management guru, trainer, and leadership authority. Dr. Thaker has authored numerous influential works. His coaching has empowered millions of people and conducting 1300 plus workshops and influencing 196,000 people. His outstanding persona and dedication on transforming business houses into profit factories has earned him many accolades. A senior trainer at AMA, Dr. Thaker's style, flamboyant and flawless training delivery will always be remembered and cherished, and we always get the best of the feedback for Dr. Thaker as a faculty over here. Thank you, sir, for joining us today, for giving us as our token of love and appreciation. I'll give a token of appreciation to Dr. Thaker. Gopalakrishnan, sir, over to you. Everybody is very keen to listen to you and your association with Tata Group and the insights from the leadership of Shri Ratan Tata. Thank you. Over to you, sir.
Thank you very much. I appreciate the Ahmedabad Management Association arranging an event to honor Ratan Tata, and I also appreciate your when somebody whom you worked with very closely has suddenly gone, one doesn't want to give a very long speech. But in honor of the person, I would like to say just for 10 minutes a few very key features about Ratan Tata, which have always struck me even while he was alive and while I was in service, but have sort of come alive in my mind more recently. See, you must remember that I was already 52. I had served 31 years in Hindustan Lever. I was already 52 when I met Ratan Tata for the first time. And the idea of joining Tata was discussed. And to his credit, he had done his homework and he knew exactly what he wanted to know. And he asked me his questions. And as I remember it, people are very hesitant when they are recruiting at a very senior level. People don't want to commit themselves one way or the other. But within about 45 minutes, he said, as far as I'm concerned, you're on. It's for you to decide. Let's discuss further details. And I was very struck by the way in which he came to his conclusion. Because he takes his time, like all of us do, when you're recruiting at a very senior level. You know, there are risks, there are potential rewards. But absorbing somebody who's culturally from some other organization into your organization is always fraught with challenges. Of course, after I joined, I found that that was a pattern that Ratan Tata did, that he went to get the best skill and worked hard to integrate them into the culture, rather than look for people who would be culturally fitting and then who had to be taught the skills. For example, apart from myself, Tata's recruited Kishore Thaker from ICICI at a senior level. We were all 50 plus. Ravikant, who came from LML Scooters into Tata Motors. Prasad Menon, who came from Nagarjuna Fertilizers into Tata Chemicals. And Sumantran, who came from General Motors in the US to join Tata Motors. So he was quite a quiet bet taker. Most bet takers look as though they are risking something big. Maybe my image of a bet taker, a risk bold guy, is based on the movie stars like John Wayne and actors in the movies. But Ratan Tata was such a low profile, almost possible to miss noticing. But he was a very, very bold chap. And apart from the big things in which he took risks, like the acquisition of many companies overseas, I could feel when I was working with him, his sensible risk taking in small matters like recruiting people like us from outside. Another example of his risk taking and boldness was trying to cite uh, the nano factory in Bengal. Now remember, we are talking of 1990s, 2000. Bengal was not top of the pops. It had been ruled by a left government for several years. It had passed its peak as an industrial state. But he felt that he could really make a difference to Bengal. I mean, this shows his public spiritedness. Instead of saying, I'll put my factory in the place where it's most likely to succeed, he said, I'd like to go to a place where it can have a far reaching impact. And of course, we would like it to succeed. And that's how he went to West Bengal. We went to West Bengal. Unfortunately, for various reasons, Singur did not work out. And then, of course, your then chief minister rang him up, and the factory was relocated to Sanand in Gujarat. But it's an example that you take risks and you take bold risks and you take risks that will benefit other people than yourself. That's a very rare combination. People may take a risk in a trade or a satta, but not when it benefits other people. I'll give you one more example, which didn't work out, and people would have forgotten it or never knew about it. In the early 2000s, Tata's developed a plan to invest $3 billion in Bangladesh. Today, everybody's worried about Bangladesh. But remember, 15, 20 years ago, he said, we'll put up 3 plants in Bangladesh, not just one. And Tata's have the expertise in these plants. One would be a steel plant, and Tata Steel would sponsor it. One would be a fertilizer plant, and Tata Chemicals would sponsor that. And one would be an electricity generating plant, which Tata Power would. And these were integrated plants. And Tata's would invest into this $3 billion. $3 billion is a lot for India, but for Bangladesh, it would have been the biggest investment Bangladesh had ever received. Unfortunately, that also didn't get into fruition after working on it for 4 or 5 years. The various factors in Bangladesh caused us to withdraw the proposal. But I'm talking of the boldness of thinking. And the boldness of thinking was not about what will I get out of it, but apart from myself in this case being Tata, will society benefit, will the community benefit? And there's absolutely no doubt in my mind that had Singur happened, had Bangladesh happened, then Tata's would have taken back to the East its debt of gratitude, because Tata's began in the East with Jamshedpur. But that was not to be. But Ratan Tata, the man, was so quiet and yet so bold, it is amazing. The second feature I would like to mention to people, these are the ones that are not commonly mentioned in the public space, is that Ratan Tata always saw himself as running a relay race and not a 100-meter sprint. In many companies, people take the attitude, I'm there for 10 years, 15 years, and I must increase the valuation of the company as far as possible. Ratan Tata was recognized that he was handing or taking the baton over from his predecessor, J.R.D. Tata, who was a legend. And J.R.D. Tata had taken it over from his predecessor, and the origin of this was Jamshedji Tata. And there is a 150-year history of what I call developing Tata-ness. And Ratan Tata was not the originator of Tata-ness. He was an exemplar of Tata-ness. So when he took over the baton from JRD, I think those who are older will remember that Tata was having a lot of satraps and there was in danger of it breaking up. And I think the challenge he faced was not dissimilar to what Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel must have faced in 1946-47. Each princely state wanted to do its own thing, and there would be holes in the middle of a country where people wanted to be independent or go to the other nation. And I think the mastery of what Sardar Vallabhbhai Patel achieved is there in the history books. And in a small way, India is much more much larger than Tata's. Ratan Tata did the same thing. He brought Tatas together. He did the systems by centralizing shareholding under Tata Sons, by increasing the shareholding of Tata Sons, by getting every company to sign a brand equity, brand promotion agreement. It was like an Aadhaar card for each company that I am linked to the parent. And he got companies to shape up because companies in those days used to think we are all world class. But he said, none of us is world class. We all have work to do. And the Tata Business Excellence model was adopted. He brought the whole Tata branding into one architecture. Today, you see the Tata circle, but in those days, some people had a T in a circle, some people had it in a square, some people just had the T. And if a layperson came from Mars and saw this, he or she may not recognize them as all belonging to the same group. So I think what Ratan Tata has achieved in a very, very quiet way is stupendous. I mean, when he took over the group, I think our sales were $10 billion or something. It's now $100 billion by the time he retired. And he went global, which had its risks, and all of them didn't succeed, but many of them did succeed. He put Tata on the world map. So I was very privileged to work with a person who did so much during his lifetime, and yet without having hawa around it, you know. I mean, Nitin Gadkari was telling me once that Ratan Tata was to meet him at his house when he was a minister in the Maharashtra government. And uh, Ratan Tata rang him up at some stage to say, hey, I can't find your house. Can you give me the directions? And Nitin Gadkari says that he told Ratan Tata, hand over the phone to your driver and explain to him precisely where it is. And Ratan Tata stunned him, according to him, by saying, no, I don't have a driver. I'm driving the car myself. And Nitin Gadkari found that the biggest industrialist of India is driving the car himself and he's looking for my house. So that explains the simplicity of the man. I think India has lost a great son, but the outpouring of love for him has been seen in the last few days. All of us have experienced it. But I want to remind the audience that it's not the first time that when a Tata died, the nation rose in grief. When Jamshedji Tata died in 1904, of course, none of us was alive, but the newspaper records are all there. The whole nation rose up to mourn his loss. When Dorabji Tata died in 1932, he was lauded in the media and the newspapers. And remember, those were colonial India. When J.R.D. Tata died in 1993, of course, he was given the Bharat Ratna before he died. And the whole nation came to grief. So this is the fourth time that when a Tata head dies, the whole nation feels a sense of grief. So the institution of Tata is what he has inherited and advanced. And I think it's extremely important. In business, we don't think about creating institutions. We think of creating a business, dhando, creating a company. But I think if India had many more Tatas who create an institution which lasts 100, 150 years, this country will be unstoppable. And in the single biggest item that private sector can do, which government can't do, in my mind, in the journey towards Viksit Bharat, is to create 100 Tatas within India, in which case Viksit Bharat is inevitable. That's a unique contribution that the mercantile enterprise can do, which governments cannot do. There are many other things government has to do and companies cannot do. So I thank you very much for listening to me, for giving me the opportunity to honor a very valued senior colleague of mine and a person whom I'm really privileged to have known, and I'm very sorry to lose. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much, Gopalakrishnan sir. I think very, very important insights, the simplicity of the man, and so difficult to bring in so many executives and then integrate the culture. Certainly, the whole nation is in grief, and we are not. None of us are wondering, and everybody, every single person feels that we have a big loss. That as a country, as a industrialist, as a philanthropist, and as a person who actually gave us so many things to become a human being more than anything else. So thanks again, Gopalakrishnan sir, for the insights, and so happy. And again, thanks from the bottom of the heart for accepting this invitation at such a short notice.
Thank you for having me over, and I hope you don't mind if I leave now because the notice was very short,
Yeah, I
and I
know.
have squeezed this in
I,
my
I,
in my
I can
program.
absolutely understand, but we're looking
I would
forward.
love to listen to Dr. Shailesh Thaker, but I will hopefully see a recording or something some other
Yes,
time.
it would be there. We are on the YouTube live also, but we might have the recording on the YouTube, so that we'll send it across. Thank you,
Thank you.
sir, and we're looking forward to your being in Ahmedabad also sooner. Right. Thank you, sir.
Okay, bye.
Thank you so much, sir. Yeah. In the meantime, Shailesh Thaker, sir, over to you. We had that insights from the person who has worked so closely with Tata. Now we want the insights from the gentleman who has done with so many corporates, and then certainly leadership is the topic of the day. Thank you, sir. Please, over to you.
Good evening, friends. After a long time, I'm in Ahmedabad and sharing evening with all of you. Sharing evening with AMA. And a class 1 audience, I see Rao Sahab is there. I can see brains of Ahmedabad are here. Great brains, happy to see all of you. Ratan Tata, the name itself is enough. My subject is leading of these people. Wonderful. I have only one word to say. RIP means rebirth if possible. That's what is leadership in my eyes. Rebirth of this great man who was holding stake of only 1% in the 30 companies. I repeat, 1% stakeholder in 30 companies. And out of 30 companies, 26 companies were listed. And somebody, I like two people in India, one 1952 Harvard PhD, Manmohan Singh. And second, Ratan Tata, who had been sent for an education of a graduation in US and came back because he loved the country. What is leadership in this great person? But 1% is stakeholding, 4 lessons which he had offered. I like 2-3 quotations of Ratan Tata. One is, I never start a business to earn the money. And somebody in a nation is working at 1% of a stake and 64% for offering charity to public, to society. And Gopalakrishnan was one of the trustee of the trust. Gopalakrishnan was one of the team members. But I would love to share 2 stories. One, the story of a nano. The story of nano is very popular. But how does the nano came into the world? In the brain of this gentleman. He see a couple 2+2 with motorcycle under rain. And he thought, can Tata Group sell a car in 1 lakh rupee? Next day he announced nano car in 1 lakh rupee. Terrific national lover, and hopefully, the only leader I have seen ethical leadership, performing ethical leadership, value-based leadership, principle-based leadership, and civilization and nation love in this gentleman. That's why hopefully he came back. The another story is a good story, Rao Sahab. He was in love in US, and he asked her to marry her. And the girl says, I cannot come to India. I am sorry. Parents refuse. And Tata came to India without marriage and stay unmarried for a lifetime because of a commitment to stay single in the life. I say I will remain single, not an issue. But I would love to go back to India. That's the patriotism I have seen in this gentleman. So terrific nation lover, terrific community lover. મને કહેતા બી આનંદ થાય છે કે કસ્તુરભાઈ લાલભાઈ પણ HL કોલેજથી દૂરદર્શન ટાવર, આઈ રિપીટ, HL કોલેજથી દૂરદર્શન ટાવર સુધીની બધી જમીનના માલિક હતા. પણ ગાંધીજીએ એવું કહ્યું કે તમે સમાજને ભાગીદાર બનાવશો તો આગળ ચાલશો, સારું ચાલશો. અને એમણે અમદાવાદ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી બનાવી, એમના 500 મેમ્બર બનાવ્યા. ₹1 મેમ્બર પણ બનાવ્યો અને ₹500 પણ મેમ્બર બનાવ્યો. 500 મેમ્બર બનાવ્યા, અમદાવાદ એજ્યુકેશન સોસાયટી બનાવી. અને મને લાગે છે 1950 ઓનવર્ડ્સ અમદાવાદ જે કંઈ છે એ બધી ઇન્સ્ટિટ્યૂટ તમને જોવા મળી રહી. That is what is a great value-based leadership. That's the biggest crisis I have seen in Ahmedabad, I have seen in Gujarat, I have seen in India, the biggest crisis of values. અને બધા અમારે ત્યાં વૈભવ અહીંયા બેઠા છે, બધા અમારે ત્યાં બધા એ જ પૂછે પૈસા કેટલા બનશે? એટલે યુએસમાં ₹84 બનશે, આપણું ત્યાં ગોઠવો ને, ત્યાં ગોઠવી દો. Success means money only. Success means money. Success means money only. Only money. I do agree. I have no questions. મને એક જણાએ એવું બી કહ્યું કે પૈસા ના હોય ને તો પરિસ્થિતિ બહુ ખરાબ હોય છે. અને પૈસો મર્યા પછી કામમાં નથી લાગતો, પણ મર્યા સુધી ક્યાં પહોંચાડી શકે એ તમને ખબર છે. અને મને પણ પૈસા વિશે વાત કરવી બહુ ગમે છે, પણ મારા ખિસ્સામાં પૈસા હોય ત્યારે. Anyway, I am very close to him, very close to the presentation. कहीं रौनक होगी आज के दरबार में, एक ऐसा फरिश्ता पहुंचा है ज़रूरी यही आसमान से. किसी ने मुझे पूछा कि ज़िंदगी कैसी लग रही है. मैंने बोला जो ज़िंदगी थी वही चली गई तो ज़िंदगी कैसी लगेगी. ऐसा एक होनहार इंसान चला गया हम लोगों के बीच में से. अहमदाबाद मस्ट लर्न फ्रॉम दिस जेंटलमैन. He was 1% stakeholding, 64% to community, 1% to RATAN TATA, and remaining goes to ESOP. Oh my God, Ali, excellent. As you wake up in the morning and switch your AC, what's the name of the company? Voltas. Look at the time, it's a Titan. Today, one will not be able to dress to work, is wayside. This morning, not drink or a cup of coffee, it's Starbucks. I was in LA in Starbucks, and Starbucks contact RATAN TATA for India. Tata Motors, Vista Airlines, now the latest is Air India Airlines, Big Basket. How many of you are using Big Basket? Anyone? Can raise the hand? Oh. How many of you are using Porter? Can I say further is Chopal, Chroma, Telecom, Tata Sky, Taj, TCS, and what not in the life. Let me go with his story. This gentleman, the story. This is his story. I would love to show you his...
Through people who left India and gone elsewhere. And why? Because the environment here didn't support them. I grew up in an environment where if you had an idea, your boss or your manager politely told you, and sometimes not so politely, that you need to gain some experience before you open your mouth. You need to roll up your sleeves and spend 5 years on the shop floor. Then you can talk. And that's not what enterprise is today. Enterprise today is an ability of someone who may be in his 20s, who has a good idea, and he needs to find a way to implement them.
Somebody asked him for BMW. It's very famous nowadays in social media also. BMW. Sir, BMW, sir. Somebody replied 3 years, somebody replied 1 year, somebody replied 5 years. It's all depend on ECS. Sir, it's all depend on ECS. Ratan Tata says, sir, 5 years. I am talking about company, I am not talking about car. Trust me, what comes to your mind? BMW car. He is thinking about BMW company. That's the difference. Never start a business to earn the money in the life. Never start. It is a passion, or it is a hard work, or it is a dream. Then the commitment, consistency, loyalty, integrity comes later on. But the first is, I think, dream, vision and passion is most important. I am speaking in front of you after 40 years, after investing 40 years. It is a passion which forces you to come to in front of you. It is a passion, it is never a session. I have 5,000 sessions in my life, more than 5,000 sessions in my life. So session is not important, but passion is important. How many of you are knowing this gentleman?
Last year on February 6, 2018, Prince Charles wanted to give Ratan Tata the Lifetime Achievement Award for Philanthropy at Buckingham Palace.
Yes.
Everything was set. It was under the auspices of the British Asian Trust. I reached London on the 2nd or the 3rd of February, and there were 11 missed calls from Mr. Tata.
Yeah.
So I said, God, what's happened? So I'm picking up my bags at Heathrow from the conveyor belt, and I called Mr. Tata. I said, what's happened? He says Tango and Tito, his dogs.
Yes.
One of them had fallen terribly ill.
Yes.
He's saying, I can't leave him and come.
So sensitive.
I said, Mr. Tata, Prince Charles has organized this Lifetime Achievement Award.
Yes.
He didn't come.
He didn't come.
And you know what Prince Charles said?
Yes.
He says, that's a man. That's the man that Ratan is. That's why the house is what it is. That's why the house of Tata is what it is.
You must be knowing this gentleman. And he said, it's my dog. Dog is not well, yeah. So I can't come here. Prince Charles is offering you a Lifetime Achievement Award in Birmingham Palace. He says, no, I can't come. અને આપણે સાહેબ અહીંયા ફ્રી જોઈએ જે બોલને અવાજ કરને. I have seen only two people. गांधी बकरी माटे. मैं जरा बकरी का टांग सरखी करके आऊँ. And Nehru is sitting, Sardar is sitting. मैं जरा बकरी की पाँव ठीक करके आ जाऊँ. And for a dog, he says no to a London Birmingham Palace. That's the power of values. That's the power of coexistence. That's the respecting dogs in the life. Let me share with you. I was in Toronto, and I was sitting with my grandson. And immediately with the black dog came, neighbor side. And I was humble. Completely humble. And then the owner came, and I asked him, sir, why don't you take him first? He said, don't tell him dog. He's my personal family member. Don't call him dog. અને આપણે ત્યાં તો મારે કશું કહેવું નથી, કંઈ કહેવું. But that's the power. That's the power of a Ratan Tata, who important, who shows the importance of a dog in the life, who is who is living with him. I would love to show you further video also. When he was supposed to buy a Range Rover and a Jaguar. He was in the evening, in the night, he went to a hotel for a dish program. They were eating, and somebody sitting on his next table, leave the plate half. He get up and said, "Sir, food, you could be paying the bills for the food. You could be. So the food is free for you, but the food is costing some other people also. There are a lot of people in the world who are sleeping without food. You have no right to leave the food in the plate." That's the power which he has shown in Germany. While buying a Jaguar and a Ford, and for owner of a Ford asked him to say, "Sir, do you know the cars?" He says, "No." "Sir, why do you enter into a Nano?" He said, "No, I just see a dream and I execute it." "Sir, how do you buy Range Rover? How do you sell?" And after 9 years, he had done the dealing with the owner of the Roger Jaguar and buy the Range Rover and Jaguar in the India. That's the power. He is a pilot. He was able to drive an aircraft, AI Airlines. He is not driving a car. But that's the power. Anyway, I'm moving forward and slowly would love to share a few of the quotations which he had shared with all of us. After Nano story, after Taj story, I was in Karachi same day when India was facing Taj incident, 26th November. And Taj, and two things I would love to share with you. One, he said, "Go ahead with the Taj. No change in name. Go ahead with the Taj name only." And second, the golden policy of a Taj, HR policy of a Taj, is still live. Is still live. It is a big document on a Google. HR policy of a Taj resort. It's a big policy. And after completing the entire HR policy, he asked his audience, "Would you like to add anything more to this policy? Would you like to add?" Just Google the success policy of HR of Taj. Taj is the great incident, and I would love to share is few of the lines. One, enjoy in the life. Life as it comes. Don't be so serious in the life. None of my venture is built up to make money. None can destroy iron, but its own rust can. Likewise, none can destroy a person, but their own mindset can. I believe in taking decisions and invest full efforts to make it right. This is what I like. I take decisions. Usually people listen. Listen, inspire, motivate, charge. After investing more than 4 decades in the education, I come to know people listen, inspire, charge, motivate, but do not take decisions. He takes decisions and then invest all the efforts to prove it right. એ બોલે નિર્ણય જોરદાર લીધો ભાઈ હાચા મહેનત બહુ મહેનત કરી ત્યારે હાચા. Are you with me? Are you listening? People, my experience after investing 4 years in my life, Rabsab will be agree with me. People listen, understand, analyze, inspire, motivate, charge, but don't take decisions. I am here to take your decisions. Take one decision in the life and invest your efforts to prove it right. Don't think about your white hair on the head. Don't think that. But take a decision. And I like this gentleman, he takes decisions in the life. Do not worry at stones thrown to you. If you want to walk faster, walk alone. But if you want to go far away, walk with team. There was IFTDO, International Federation Training and Development Organizations. I was a keynote speaker to the conference, and we were focusing 3 HR values in the life, and third one was team. Team is everything. Believe in team. Ups and downs are the part of life. Even a straight line in ECG, you know better than me. ECG, you know better than me. Even a straight line in ECG. So ups and downs are the part of life. I say yes. Even in straight line, ECG final, straight lines and ECG, ultimate. I would love to share with you, Kasturbai Lal Bhai, community is everything for you. Enjoy community. Power and wealth are not the main mistakes. Not the main stakes. Not the main stakes. I treat it as the mistakes in the life. Gandhi lose the power. Gandhi lose the status. Gandhi lose the position. And MK Gandhi left over the wealth. કસ્તુરબાને પૂછ્યું પણ ખરું, કસ્તુરબા તમે ઘરણા રાખ્યા છે? હા કે મારા છોકરાના વિવાહ થાય ને તો એની વહુને આપવા જોઈશે ને એટલે રાખ્યા છે. કે ના તમારે તો આપણે તો આપી દેવાની વાત થઈ છે, બધું આપી દો. So wealth is not an issue. Wealth and power are the everlasting things which you ask for, stakes in the life. I would love to close this, slowly close.
रतन टाटा ने एक इंटरव्यू में 4 ऐसी बातें बताई जो हमारे बहुत ही काम आ सकती हैं. नंबर 1, कौन क्या कर रहा है और क्यों कर रहा है, यदि इस बात से दूर रहोगे और सिर्फ अपने काम से मतलब रखोगे तो जीवन में बहुत आगे जाओगे. नंबर 2, हमेशा खुद को स्पेशल समझकर जीना शुरू करें, क्योंकि भगवान ने इस धरती पर किसी को भी फालतू समझकर नहीं बनाया है. नंबर 3, जिंदगी में कभी भी किसी को बेकार नहीं समझना चाहिए, क्योंकि बंद पड़ी घड़ी भी दिन में 2 बार सही समय बताती है. नंबर 4, ये ख्वाहिश कभी मत करना कि हर कोई आपकी तारीफ करे, बस इतनी ख्वाहिश करना कि आपके माँ बाप को आप पर नाज हो.
Thank you. You have seen your teacher, but not seen the boss. You have experienced your teacher, vice chancellor, principal, for 22 years, for 24 years. but it's still that moment you're not seeing the boss of your manager in the company. He is more worse than your teacher. That's what he said. I do agree with him. And slowly, I would love to end the session. You cannot be president or VP overnight. Hard work is the only way. મને હમણાં બધા MBA થયેલા પૂછે છે, સર પેકેજ શું આપશે? સર પેકેજ શું આપશે? એ કોને પેકેજ શું આપશે? And learn from mistakes, never repeat the same mistakes. What is the difference between business and organization? Reliance and Tata is the difference. I would love to share you BEPS. Pramukh Swami is an example of a BEPS. He created an organization. AMA is also an organization where leadership is changed every year. You should join your hands here. How do you handle corruption in India? This question was asked to this gentleman. How do you handle corruption in India? Rebirth, if possible. Thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you so much.
So, thank you, ladies and gentlemen. I also heard Mr. Daga, who has written a poem. But Daga sir, I think in the spirit that I would probably avoid the poem, but something that we are very happy. Lot of people, I've met so many people who have written so much for late Shri RATAN TATA. So many people who have, shown emotions that there's a big and huge loss to the country. And we know it was money which happened in such a huge wealth, but that money was never the focus. Like Tata Steel, they were saying that we also make steel. As the whole empire, probably we also make money. So money is also that they are into. And I think Mr. Gopalakrishnan, he gave the insights of how he integrated the culture, how he brought on board people, and how he actually had the vision for the group more from the point of view of making a more ethical story and a culture that they wanted to create. Sir mentioned so many things. So I think we certainly, it's as a tribute to each one of us, certainly feel there is a loss, there's a huge loss in the industry, and a human being who has done so much for the country, so much for the people at large, so much for his employees also, and so much for the customers also, because this was the whole ecosystem. That's how the Tata Group has, been built the foundation. So thank you, ladies and gentlemen. Thank you, Dinesh bhai, for the poem, but we'll hopefully do it sometime. And thanks for coming. Thanks, Dr. Shailesh Thaker. And in absentia that Gopalakrishnan has gone, we must thank him. So thank you once again, and we look forward to having you for this kind of events. Thank you.